Hi, everyone. This is Krista Moore, and welcome to the Krista Moore Show. This is actually show number 108. So that's 108 shows that I have done so far. I started doing these talk show formats about 3 years ago, and it's really my way of interviewing industry experts or thought leaders, individuals that can be inspiring to you as you continue to rediscover what your purpose and your passion is. Today, I'm really excited to introduce my guest to you. I'm actually channeling Susie, my mother, Susie Schaefer, today, because I know she would love this topic because she loved music and she loved to sing. So I'd like to introduce you to Paula Snyder. Hi, Paula.
Hi, Krista. Thanks for inviting me today.
Yeah, it's great to have you. And I know that one of the topics that I want to talk about today is living your passion. And this is a series that I'm starting and is going to be running for the next couple of weeks. But your passion is music and the joy of music. And I want to talk to you today about what that passion means to you and a little bit about your background and how you're living with more meaning and purpose today because you're using those wonderful talents as a singer, songwriter, and musician. Why don't you go ahead and maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and give us a backdrop?
All right. Well, presently, I will be 70 next
Yay!
year, and I'm still at it, so that's a good sign. I grew up in a family that loved to sing together, and my dad would lead us all in harmonies just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in all the choruses at high school, and I was a decent singer. I could stay on key. But nobody thought of music as a profession unless you were teaching or an opera singer, and I didn't want to do either of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yet I always told people if they asked me what I wanted to be when I grow up, I just want to be a singer. I didn't think about fame or fortune. I just thought about doing what I love to do.
Yeah. And I know that you come from a musical family, and you were telling me stories before about how you would sing around the piano
Mhm.
and stay in harmony with your family. And I recently saw a video of you and your daughter singing at Christmas time. And I mean, I played it 3 times over. Absolutely loved it. So this is definitely a talent or gift that seems to run in your family.
Well, my daughter actually got me back into it when she was 16 because she was like a closet singer in a way. She
Hmm.
didn't come out with the rest of the family when my dad was around and sing with everyone. She kind of hid away and watched everyone else. But in 5th grade, she was in an all-school program in her elementary school, and
Hmm.
she decided she was going to take a solo part at the finale. And I'm thinking, well, okay. She never sang for me. But
Yeah.
I was there in the audience with my heart worried. I was more worried about how she would feel if she didn't like how she sounded.
Hmm.
And she comes out on stage and belts the song with the microphone. I said, okay. There
That's
she-
great. That's a
and then
good story.
she went on to be connected with the honors chorus of North Carolina. I think it was North Carolina Educators. They had honors chorus, so she auditioned every year, and almost every year she got in.
Yeah.
And I was a stage mom.
I think you also have a tradition where you sing. Um, is it "I'll Be Home for Christmas" or what is the Christmas song that is the tradition?
Usually, our tradition is "Have Yourself a Merry Little
That's right.
Christmas."
Yeah.
And the reason for that is we were living in an apartment as a single mom, and that last year before she asked if I would sing with her, there was a little group playing for a holiday party at the apartment complex. And I took her over there and we walked out and she says, "Can we sing this song together?" So,
Mhm.
we tried to sing. I can never remember the words when I was doing it. So I said, okay. And and she asked later on if I could put on a holiday performance with her where she worked. And we negotiated a deal with her boss, and I was back in business. So
Yeah.
every year
Well,
after that we sing
That,
together.
and I want to talk about your business for a moment, because one of the things that really resonated with me is that you've built a business around what you love, what you enjoy, what you're great at. And that is taking all those creative aspects of singer, songwriter, but also, creative performance, and as a speaker and a business owner. So I wanted to just talk a little bit about that transition that you made when you went from now I can make a living, or I can do this every day and enjoy what I'm doing, and kind of like make that transition. I love the smile on this young lady's face. I could tell that you're in the moment, and I just feel like that comes out in your work today.
Yeah, I would say so. That was an 80s picture. I think I was somewhere with a family doing so. We might have been doing a family sing-along that day. But actually, when I went to school, I was not going to school to be a musician. I just kind of fell into the musician part because I still have my guitar. I taught myself. But I actually traveled on the road for about 3 or 4 years in the 70s,
Hmm.
doing performance all over the country. So
And
I
that
got back into it after being a single parent.
yeah, and you talk a lot about these different kind of you've evolved multiple times in your life, right? You've gone through different phases of growth. And where you are today and where you've landed, I'd like you to talk about your business a little bit. I have a slide that I wanted to show everyone because I was kind of impressed by how many brands you had. But why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're doing today to bring your gift of music to others?
So for the last 20 years, I would say, I really started bringing my music into the healthcare field. And until COVID, I was booked pretty regularly in senior and healthcare environment. Now, I also did parties, but I would say that that was the main focus at the time when I got back
Mhm.
into it. I didn't want to go back to the bars and the traveling. So I
Yeah.
found the niche that I was good at. I liked the older music. I was able to bring that, and I learned to do themes for them. When COVID happened, I had been doing singing telegrams, but I'm on a lead service that kept bringing that to me, and I'm thinking, I'm not going to go knocking on a door and walking into someone's house.
Exactly.
But I figured out how to do a socially distanced version of that. And still, I had a knack for rewriting songs, making them personalized, and creating kind of a routine to go out with it, usually on the spot, within a couple of days after, oh, I better get these songs together in this order.
Yeah.
I'd go out with a routine. So that saved me when COVID hit. For the first couple months, I was kind of sitting on the back porch, just singing to myself, and you saw a video or two.
Yeah, I've seen some videos of you singing on the porch. If you go to your YouTube channel, you can hear a lot of your songs. One of the things that I think is a terrific business model, and this is just more my strategic sales mind, is you're customizing songs and poetry for others.
That's right.
And I find that really fascinating. Like, I have a group of girlfriends that I've known forever, and I would love if you would write a song and customize a song for us, or a poem for us. It could be like our theme song. And I know that you've done it for children. You also do Grandma Paula, where you're very creative and playing music and with children. So you're doing a number of different things in your business that is really bringing your musical talents to life and
Right.
giving back to others.
Yeah, with it's really interesting how each thing evolved. Well, first, I didn't want to get back to the bars. I would have loved to go back into weddings and some of
So
the
when you say get back to the bars, you're
yeah,
talking about going and playing in nightclubs, and
right. And
that
they
was
don't
a
pay any
solo performance, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and they're not usually attentive.
Uh-huh.
But I found, throughout the different phases, when I was working and not singing, I became the go-to at work. and I was the one who did the retirement parties, and they said, "Can you come sing for this?" And I'd make these routines up. So I got used to that, but I was a songwriter anyway.
Yeah.
So I
It's,
started singing.
when I think about the love of music, I automatically think of my mother because she absolutely loved to sing. And she would sing in every choir that no matter where she lived, she joined the church. And that was her give back to the church, was her voice. And she was singing days before she passed away, lying in her bed, singing from the Methodist hymnal, like some favorite songs, because it was how it made her feel. And I used to think that that's really what music was about. It was the emotion that we get from hearing it. But for a singer, which I'm not, I'm learning from you that it's about how it makes you feel, like the joy that it gives you when you're able to use that talent and use that voice. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. There's actually something physical that happens in there.
Mhm.
First of all, you have all the good memories of the family moments. So there's an emotional attachment there.
Yeah.
I actually, when my dad died, I couldn't sing for a while because it would just make me so sad.
Mhm.
But when I'm feeling low or when I'm not sure of where I am, the singing kind of brings me back. And also, it's like, well, it's almost like there's a chemical change in you
Mhm.
that makes you feel high, bigger, and nicer and sweeter. And when I feel that excitement, everybody else does too. They say,
Yeah.
"You tell you enjoy this," and it makes them enjoy it too. Yeah, that's
I
Purry
love this
Paula.
character.
Purry Paula. I did a couple of Halloween gigs where I dressed up as a cat, so I was the Purry Paula.
That's great. When you were talking about that chemical change that takes place, it reminds me of something that I've observed over the years. Like I said, my mother is a wonderful singer. I have my cousins are wonderful singers. Actually, I think one of my musician cousins is listening in today. And so it is in our family. I just didn't get it, right? But my brother was a rock and roll star. And he would get up on stage in the 80s, and he was the singer of multiple bands, and they would go up and down the East Coast. And he almost transformed into a different person. So fast forward years later, his band would still get together, and I'd see him up on stage, and he just would come to life. The other day, and he's been sick. He was in a motorcycle accident. He's healing from an injury. He's not getting around very well. And I heard the other day that his band got together for a practice, and this was just a few days after his best friend had passed away.
Oh,
And my thought was, oh my gosh, that's exactly what he needs. I mean, he needs to sing. He needs to let his voice be heard, and whatever his endorphins or whatever happens inside of him to make him feel better. And I'm just I'm kind of understanding what you're saying when it
yeah.
comes to the joy of what music can do for you.
And I could say how that does for others too.
Mhm.
I have sung in the healthcare field, okay?
Mhm.
So people who maybe weren't communicating for a couple of years and they no longer could talk, all of a sudden they might start talking after they hear a song that they remember. Uh,
Mhm.
people at my daughter and I just did this. Her grandma just died. Her not my mother, but her dad's mother
Mhm.
just
Mhm.
died. And before that, we had planned to try to do a Zoom meeting through some of the cousins. And by the time we got to that, she was unconscious. We
Mhm.
decided to sing to her. And my daughter sang a song. And as soon as she started singing, her grandma opened her eyes and
Cool.
lifted up.
Oh, that
And
gives
she
me
was
chills.
conscious that she hadn't been talking to anyone. And we have also sung my mother's husband when he was he had a problem with cancer. We sang to him. When people are sick, the music sometimes lowers their blood pressure,
Mhm.
calms them. My niece had
Yeah. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking too. I have a cousin who does music therapy, which
Mhm.
is very similar in terms of going into different places and playing music, and often in the healthcare world. And there's a real science behind that, isn't there?
Yeah. So when I was going to school, I was actually in the occupational therapy program at school. They
Mhm.
didn't have a music therapy curriculum at the time. Had they, that probably would have been a perfect fit for me.
Yeah.
So I was always very comfortable with the science as well as the art. So,
Mhm.
yeah,
Well,
that
the one thing that I see you doing that is really pretty cool now is sharing that joy of music with others, and even in a COVID environment, right? So you might why don't you share what's happening in this picture?
It's really funny. Actually, I kind of made a little post on Nextdoor because I was trying to figure out how to get a business page on Nextdoor, and I mentioned singing telegrams. So a neighbor in a couple of neighborhoods down the way said, "Oh, my triplets are turning 16," and I'm thinking, "Will I be able to please the triplets?" Right? And I started, she really wanted me to do this. She wanted me to wake them up on their birthday morning, and she got them out of bed and made them come to the front. Um, so I thought to myself, it took me a while to figure out what I wanted to do, but I thought, well, from a parent standpoint, the parents are letting these. I actually took an old song that they probably didn't even know. It's called "Happy Birthday, Sweet 16" by Neil Sedaka.
Yeah,
Because it
it's a
talks
great song.
yeah, that's from a boyfriend's point of view. But anyway, I started asking questions about them, and they like to listen to rap and different things. And I'm a pretty melodic person, but I picked one song that was contemporary, and I made a verse for each of the triplets. And so each girl's name came up, and I did a whole verse for it. Was "My Oh My" by Camila Cabello. And I also asked what their favorite kids song was, and it was 10 Little
Did they
Monkeys.
know?
Yeah, 10, well, the mom knew.
Yeah.
So when I got to 10 Little Monkeys, I said, before you grow up, let's go back a little bit. And I got them sing along with me on that one.
Yeah.
And and they kept saying, "How did you know?" Yeah. And the other thing that we did, they liked they liked Mary Poppins as a.
Mhm.
So I did supercalifragilisticexpialidocious and changed all the words. And I was talking about how they used to go to the beach to celebrate, but they couldn't this year. And "We know you'd really like it, but I'm not buying you a car" came out in the
Oh,
lyrics.
that's great.
They were like,
You know,
"Oh."
I was gonna treat the audience here with a little bit of a share. It's a YouTube video, so they could actually hear you in performance. So let me go ahead and do that here. Let me play it.
Hey, I'm Paula Snyder, and I'm here at Local Blues. I'm going to sing one of my own songs for you. This is a blues song I wrote a while ago called Old 30s Blues. Kind of had fun with all the cliches in a blues song and put it all together. Sweet baby, well, you love me like a man, like no other can. Well, baby, my man, well, darling, you're my lips so sweet. No one can complete. You're such a beautiful treat. And when you hold me in your arms and give me all your charms, it's like a dream come true. And when you struck my longing face, or handled me so gracefully, well, no one could ever do like you do. Well, darling, you're treating me like a queen. No, I've never seen a man like you. Well, honey, you make me dream of you at night. I want to hold you so tight. Yes, I put up a fight for you. And when you tell me that you love me, or lay me down so gently, it's like a dream come true. And when you to me. Well, darling, you took your love so far away, and I'm longing for the day when I could stay with you. Well, honey, as long as you want me around, I won't be on the ground, though I'll be high. As you want me around, I won't be on the ground, no, I'll be flying. 'Cause no one can do me the way that you do. No one can do the way you do to me. No, 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 no.
I love that. I love that. That's great. There was something about that song. I mean, I've listened to a few of the ones that you have on YouTube, but that one I just love the raspiness of it and the whole blues take on it. So thanks for sharing that. I have this picture up here of you in the driveway, kind of still doing your thing at 70, right? Or soon to be.
Soon to be. That was actually at the triplets' birthday, but you see the neighbors started coming out of the woodwork and keeping a distance behind me. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you as we kind of start closing down the interview is for those people out there that have a gift, have a talent, and maybe it is music, maybe it's something else that is still along those lines or creative that they're not using. And when they use it or when they become who they are meant to be, they feel that joy, just like joy is in your music. What advice would you give them? What would you say to them today?
First of all, I would definitely tell everyone, if you have something that you enjoy, you should be doing it. Please don't hide it away. Whether you're doing it for others or doing it for yourself, just do it. If you have it, if in you, do that because it makes you happy. And that carries over to everything in your life. I mean, my husband would probably like it if I wasn't spending so much time on my projects, but he sees how happy it makes me to do. So it carries over to everything. Whether you want to make a business out of it or not, it doesn't have to be a perfect time. It doesn't have to be the perfect rendition of whatever it is. The fact that you go out and have the guts to step forward.
Wait, let me think. Hold on. I think my YouTube kept playing.
Oh,
sorry. That's what that was.
I thought maybe your husband was interrupting you. No, I would say that certainly whether you want to make a business, if you think about making a business of it, or even earning a side income or whatever, there is no perfect time. There is no perfect place. You don't have to be perfect. I mean, compared to what some famous artist or something, I mean, I might have the voice, but you don't have to be there. You have to find your niche and find a way to share it.
Yeah, when you say find your niche and find a way to share it, and I work with a lot of business owners who are trying to live their best self and rediscover what they're passionate and what they feel purposeful around so that they can put it into their business, right? And that's not easy to do. But I have to tell you, I love that you're a songwriter and a singer. And I love how creative you are around customizing songs and poetry for people. And maybe it's just my newfound interest and excitement with Amanda Gordon. I mean, I just love what she does, right? I've been YouTubing her for days since the inauguration. But that's a great example of using your talents creatively and giving them back to the world. And
Right.
so I'm going to be talking to you about a song. Maybe it's a Krista Moore Show theme song.
Yeah. There is one thing I wanted to share. The other day, I had a client contact me through my lead service, and they wanted me to come about an hour and a half away to do a singing telegram of 15 minutes. And I really didn't think I could charge them a decent price to do that
Mhm.
for my time. But I offered a poem. And this person and his wife were estranged. And what he was hoping to do is get her reconnected. And I listened to him tell a story, and I interviewed him,
Mhm.
and I wrote just a poem, nothing with music. It was just a poem. I put the words down that told his stories and what he was trying to say to her.
Yeah.
And I sent it to him, and I said, "This is a draft. Tell me tell me if you like it. Tell me if you need to change anything, because I want to make sure that I'm right on when I'm doing something like that." And he says, "It brought a tear to my eye. There's nothing I want you to change."
I love
He,
that
yeah,
story.
and this is what I've somehow been able to do. I didn't know I could do that, but somehow I'm able to interpret other people's emotions into the words or the music. And that is what I enjoy even more. Even if I can't charge enough for it, I
I
enjoy that so
Okay,
much.
then Paula, I think you need to do more of that.
I do. Yeah.
I really do. That's wonderful. And there's a song that I heard. I have an audio of it, and I thought it would be a great way to end our show. And I'm going to play the audio. It almost feels like your theme song. Do you know what song that is I'm going to play?
Yeah, it's called Never Too Late. And I wrote it when I was recording my original material that I started with in the early 70s, and some I wrote for later. At the age of 55, I released this on my album Renewed.
Okay,
So,
that's great. So I'm going to go ahead and share that as we close out so that people can listen to it. But in the meantime, what's the best way to reach out to you and get a hold of you?
uh, email, phone, go through my contact on my websites. I have 8 web domains. You'll find me. If you just type Paula C. Snyder on the internet, you'll find me somewhere. Gig Salad is another connector. That's where I usually get my leads from, my outside leads.
Yeah, and also your YouTube channel, I think, is a great place to follow you.
I need to be posting more.
Yeah, you and me both, right?
LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm on Instagram. So.
That's great. Well, good luck with your business aspects of what you're doing. But also, I'm just thrilled that at this stage in your life, they say that dreams don't have expiration dates, and I love looking at life that way. But there's still time. So for those of you that are on the line that have a desire, have an urge, have a dream, there's still time.
And it's never too late.
That's right.
Thank you, Krista, for inviting
Thank
me to
you.
speak today.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I'm going to go ahead and play. I think I've got the audio teed up here. So hold on one moment.
They tell me you fool, it's just too late. My body's trapped in a joke of fate. My soul's not as old as it sometimes seems. I hear them say trash those silly dreams. One day I could be a rising star. It shouldn't matter how old you are. Living life every fairy day. Must always go on this way. I see a blast of neon lights. There's still a chance to get this right. And it's never all over and you never die. It's not the end until the game is won. After you win, go around again. Never regret where you have been. And it's not the end. Never too old, never too late. Never too old for rock and roll. And it's never too late, never too late, never They tell me it's time to act your age, but my mind is trapped in an 18 cage. My brain's on hold as it sometimes seems, and I hear them say trash those silly dreams. One day I can see a rising star. It shouldn't matter how old you are. Living life in the slowest lane must have just dragged on in vain. I see the flicker of bright strobe light. There's still a chance to get this right. It's never all over and you're never done. It's not the end till the game is won. After you win, go around again. Never regret where you have been. It's not the end, never too old, never too late. Never too old to rock and roll. And it's never too late, never too late, never too late. Oh, love. They tell me move on from where you've been, but my memory's trapped in age 18. My heart's not as cold as it sometimes seems. I couldn't say trash those silly dreams. One day I can be your shooting star. It shouldn't matter how old we are. Moving forward, not holding back. Is it the gods of the sense I love?